Hey everyone, let's talk about discounts. Right? We talked about add-ons in the last video, but now let's talk about something called a discount. You might think of a discount as something like a sale or a percent off, and that's exactly what it is. It is a percent off. And if we think about it like that today or in math class, it'll always work for us, right? A discount is always going to give us a percent or a part off. Now, if it was just $2 off, it would be simple subtraction, but we're going to be looking at percent off types of problems. Now, let's use the example of registration, right? So there's the Kanye West late registration album, but we're not talking about that kind of registration because often if we do early registration, we will get a discount, right? A late registration might get us an add-on. We might have to pay an extra fee or something, but let's think about a 5% early registration discount, something that we might get for registering early, right? So let's say you were paying a tuition. Let's just say it was something like $8,000, right? You had to pay $8,000 to register for classes, but you got a 5% off discount, right? When you see the word, I keep repeating the word discount because you're going to see it in your classwork and in your problems. A discount means off, something that is taken off of the price. So what that means, and there's a couple ways we can figure this out. Let's look at one way that seems pretty easy, is assuming that you would pay 100% of your tuition, of the $8,000 tuition, and that would equal $8,000, right? If you paid 100%. But if we took 5% off, that would leave you paying only 95%. You see what I did there? I just subtracted 5%. Now I have to pay 95% of 8,000, and we're left wondering how much that is. Right? So let's go ahead and write this up as a math problem. And first thing we need to do is change the percent into a number. So let's move it up here a little bit. We'll call that 0.95%. Of course, means multiply, and we'll keep the $8,000. Okay, so we might need to do a little calculating here. I'll write the 8,000, think of this as my scratch paper, times 0.95, and we're going to get a lot of zeros. 5 times 8 is 40, and here I'm multiplying by the tens place, so I need to start in the tens place. I'm going to shoot a 0 there just so it stays and keeps the empty space warm. 9 times 0 is 0, times 0 is 0, times 0 is 0, and 9 times 8 is 72. So when I add these up, I'm going to end up with 0, 0, 0, 0, 6, 7. That looks like a lot of money. If I'm getting a discount, why am I paying $760,000? Well, it's because I forgot to put in 2 decimal places. Right there are 2 decimal places in my answer. So there should be 2 decimal places, or sorry, there were 2 decimal places in my factors. There were none in this factor, but 2 in this factor. So I need to put 2 in my answer. And so that shows us that 95% of 8,000 is actually $7,000, $7,600. So hey, that's not bad for just registering for class early. Okay, so that's called a discount. And one way to do it is by just taking, if you're given the percent discount, you can just subtract the percent from 100, and it will tell you what's left for you to pay. But there are other kinds of problems that are a little more complicated. Let's take a look at another one. Here is a problem from our homework. It says a bicycle is originally priced at $160. The store owner has given us a discount. They don't tell us what the discount is. And now the bicycle is $140. It says write the percent. They want us to find the percent discount for the cost of the bicycle to the nearest hundredth. So let's, just like we always can do, let's count on our handy percent formula. Right? We are going to know the percent of the total is the part. Right? And in this case, we know the total. The bicycle cost $160. That's the total. And we know we only paid part of that. What part did we pay? We paid $140. We paid part. And what about the percent? Well, that's the thing they're asking us to figure out. Write the percent. So it's still a question. Question mark percent of what percent of 160 is 140? Let's keep translating this into math, right? We'll change that question mark into a variable, x. I don't know what that is. We'll change into a multiplication sign. 160 we'll just simply write as 160. We'll write as an equal sign. And the part 140 we can just leave as 140, right? So again, we can read this. We want to get good at reading mathematical expressions and equations. What percent of 160 is 140, right? What percent of this total is the part that we have, right? So we can solve this algebraically. You know that we can divide both sides by this factor, right? 140 divided by 160, should change that color, 160, right? And if I divide this side by 160, we know that these will cancel out, right? So algebraically, 160 divided by 160 leaves us with just one x. So we're left with x equals 140 divided by 160. Right, so time to get out your calculator, see if we can do this by hand. I'm actually going to simplify this fraction, right? We can think of this division problem as a fraction, and all fractions are division problems. Well, let's simplify it at least to 14 over 16. I'm going to further simplify this to 7 over 8. That is a much more comfortable division problem for me to solve. So let's check it out. 7 divided by 8. It's not going to go in. Let me actually set this up a little nicer here. 7 divided by 8. It's going to go in 0 times. I'm going to pull back the curtain here, show the decimal place and show the tenths place. 8 goes into 70. Would that be 8 times? 8 times 8 is 64. That leaves me with the remainder of 6. 0, 0, 0. 8 goes into 67 times. 7 times 8 is 56. And that leaves me with 40, boom, 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 boom. 8 goes into 45 times. It says round this to the nearest hundredth. So I would call that 88 hundredths. Right? So I'm going to say x equals 88 hundredths, or 88%. And I might be feeling pretty good right now, like I've just found the missing percent. But. I want you to remember, this is important when you cover these kinds of problems. This is the amount that we paid. This is the amount that we paid. So we actually paid 88%, right? Let me erase this and say, change it to what we did. We paid 88% of $160, which is $140. So did we pay it all? No. Was there a discount? Yes. How much of a discount? Well, let's think here. We used to pay 100%. We had to pay 100%, but he gave us a discount, and now we had to pay 88%. What is the difference? Looks like it's going to be 12%. That's the discount. Okay, so that's a little bit, it seems a little twisted, right? Like we thought we were doing really good, and we found out that we paid 88%, but now we have to go back and fix it. So be on the lookout. If it looks like you're paying 88%, that's like most of it. Did you pay for most of the bike? Yes. Did you get most of it discounted? No. So you've got to go back and find the discount. Or, we could have been smarter about this from the beginning. Right? I could have said that he paid, let me see if I can just move this over a little bit here. Right? And bear with me, right? There's two ways to solve this. And this one, that one works too, but it's a little bit tricky. We could say from the beginning that it was $160. I paid $140. That means it was a $20 discount. And I could have done the same problem, asking what percent of 140 is 20. And gone through the same problem, saying x of 140 is 20, dividing both sides by 140. Boom, boom, ending up with x equals 20 over 140. And then simplifying that, I would have gotten 2 out of 12 or 1 out of 7, 1/7, and I would have gotten the same amount. See, look here. This is 1/7. This was the discount, UNT, and this was the paid 7/8, right? So we're going to be careful about doing these, right? So if you are finding the amount you paid, make sure you subtract it from 100. If you are finding out the discount, make sure that the part that you're using in the part section is the discounted part. Okay, I'm going to make another, we'll have some more practice problems like this in the homework.